Have you ever wished that we could have an alternate source of energy? Tired of all those carbon dioxide emissions? Well, the people at Algae Incorporated have found the solution.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I'm Dr. Sean Stewart, PhD, and I work for Algae Incorporated. Here we are working on our new alternative fuel, algae. Our recent tests have revealed that using algae as an alternative fuel would be very beneficial.
Algae is a single-celled organism that can grow in bodies of water. There are over 200,000 known species of algae and are found in marine or freshwater environments. Algae is pivotal in many food chains, and it is the primary producer of organic matter. It can be a form of food or medicine for humans. The largest kind of algae is kelp, which can be up to 200 feet long. Water may cover around 71% of the world, but algae produces more than 71% of the world's oxygen. Oxygen was poisonous to the earliest organisms of Earth, so by creating oxygen, algae may have caused the first toxic crisis in history. Even though algae is a plant, it sometimes behaves like an animal. Some algae demonstrate this by hunting and killing fish for their food.
Hello. This is our Chief Lab Specialist, Dr. Allaire.
Thank you, Dr. Stewart. Now, what we're trying to do here is create a different algae growing chamber so that we can mass produce the fuel. Now, we must have the correct growing conditions, or else this will not work. The conditions can include sunlight, high CO2, or water. And this is all to help create a better solution for alternative fuel.
Well, isn't that something? Now, the reason algae would be a good alternative fuel is that it eats up CO2 in mass amounts, which means less CO2 emissions, which would mean less pollution. Now let's see what some other people think of this alternative fuel situation. How do you feel about global warming?
Well, I know that global warming is certainly a big topic of discussion that people do. I think they've changed the name to global climate change. And I believe that the Earth goes through these cycles where there is some intense weather, either it being really hot and dry or really cold and rainy or wet. But I do think that that people have accelerated or exacerbated the cycles of the Earth by pumping more of CO2 into the atmosphere and creating these kind of superstorms, I guess, if you will. So I certainly do believe in it.
Okay, and how would you react to a new alternative fuel?
I think that alternative fuels are definitely a thing of the future, because with fossil fuels there's only so many, and so we certainly do need to look at other options and look at the consequences also of these other options, as far as would it make it worse for our atmosphere, or does it benefit even, or what are the consequences of that new alternative energy?
And how do you feel an alternative fuel would help us?
Well, I think if it has some beneficial items to the new fuel, then I don't think it will reverse global climate change, but it could help to lessen our impacts on the global climate change, essentially. So I think that it's probably out there. There's a possibility that we should be using it, but need to look at all aspects and consequences of any fuel that we find, if it's alternative to what we have now, or if it's something completely new, or what we do have, if we can make it better.
But algae isn't just about less pollution, it's also about convenience. Here we have arborist Natalie Allen to tell us about the convenience of using algae as an alternative fuel.
There have been many attempts at alternative fuel, but most of them raised the price of the main product, so people started to make more. For example, if an alternative fuel was made with wheat, then the price of wheat would go up. Now, to try to keep the price down, people would plant more. To plant more, they need space, and what do? They make space by cutting down forests. Algae is much more practical because you can find it anywhere and don't have to cut down the acres of trees to grow algae.
As you can see,
Algae could be the answer to all of our energy needs.